Okay, I'm going to continue on with this one. And as you can see, the more colors you use, the more challenging, the more complex everything else gets. Your decisions, your composition, it can be more confusing. So that's why it's always a good idea to start with just one color, or just say black and white, and then black and white plus one color, black and white plus two colors. It doesn't take long before you kind of get out of your comfort zone. So just keep that in mind when it comes to, if you're really new to this medium, then you want to just take it kind of easy on yourself. Don't expect yourself to be able to play around with 10 different colors and expect that to be easy, because that's going to be a bigger challenge. Doesn't mean you can't try it. Of course you can try it, but if you get stuck, the reason is that you have a lot more to deal with. You have less palette space to mix your colors. There's just less space for you to do things. So obviously this looks like a total disaster, but part of the reason why that happens is you can't really see the border. So this has dried now for a couple days, and like just laying this on top really helps me to see what I have and what I might like to feature. So the first one that really caught my eye, I think, was this one up here, because what I really like about it is this upper right-hand corner. And I like a bit of this rectilinear come into the curvilinear. There's a bit of curvilinear here. And then I use like various texture materials to make grid-like patterns down here. So yes, there is a lot going on. And obviously there's too much going on, but that doesn't mean that I can't come in here and quiet down some areas. So putting that mat around it is kind of a big deal. So when I look at the stage after play, so we're kind of going into what I call explore. It can be hard because you don't always, you might have favorite areas and they're not in the right place. You kind of have to cover them up. And like in this one up here, I think like of all four, you want to choose which one seems like the most, the one that's maybe speaking to where you have an idea of what you could do just to begin with, not to finish it or anything like that, but like, what's happening in that painting that's really perhaps because you did it all in play, it started in a very spontaneous way. That can be a good thing, right? So you kind of want to ask yourself, which one's really speaking to me? And I think in this case for me, this one's really speaking to me. And then like this one up here, what I'm really enjoying about this one is the upper portion. It's done with the fingers. It's very gestural and thick paint. And I like thick paint, I like the look of that. So that gives me an idea of like what I might want to do down here. Perhaps I might do some masking to quiet things down. Up here, yeah, I might actually be using my hands a bit here, because again, I like this, and it's very different from this. So this is very wet into wet and gestural, whereas this is very rectilinear, and one has to win. And so to make it feel like this area is, if I want to go more in that direction, then I might need to add more of that. So I think I'll start out with that. And I've squirted out the palette that I had before, and it's, like I said, it's pretty complex. It's got Indian yellow, cad red medium, cad yellow light, and then it also has phthalo turquoise and the cerulean blue French, which is a Williamsburg color. And I'm going to add just a little bit of cold wax to each. So it's good the minute that you squirt out your paint to mix it right away so you don't forget. And I come into this with still an attitude of, exploring and experimenting, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the answers. I just have intuition and some ideas of how I might move back into these. But I still have a bit of a playful attitude. That's true when I'm in explore as well. So I think what I'll do is start with some grays. I'm going to mix some gray with a bit of the cad yellow light. That makes a lovely gray, and need a little bit more white. So I'm going to put some here. You can see how high key that is compared to everything else in this little quadrant. And it's very much like what's going on up here. But the first thing I'm doing is, I'm kind of putting it on in a simple way where it's not changing in value. It doesn't have a lot of texture. And then I might come in with my finger and do some other things there. I could also do some masking, but I'm not really sure if I want to do that. I'm just going to come in here and work this pigment in. There's a bit of a color change, and then come in with my finger and just play a little bit. I'm probably on that border between play and explore because I don't know how much this painting is going to require to make it feel like I'm happy with it. So maybe I'll take a bit more gray, just a solid gray, and mix it in. That feels a little different. And then take more yellow. So just mixing colors kind of freely in this painting. There's a bit of a spiral going on here, so put some cold wax over that and see if I can thin that out. So a bit of gradation maybe to peel it back. And see how you can really peel that back. Come here and diffuse some of that. It's a little too strong. So I like some of the rectilinear feel, but that's very high powered. And so in the process, I have already quieted a few things down. Again, going more for this gestural quality, which I saw kind of early on. If I take a dark gray here and add that in, that just because it was a little too sweet up there, meaning, pre-colors. I call those like really sweet colors. So in other words, I do like, some of this stuff going on here, but and I will come in and refine that area, and I can show you how I would do that. So I'm more interested in like achieving quiet where I want it to be quiet, but so quiet but not boring. Unless I want it to be boring, then that's different. But so I can come back in here and get more paint. When you use your hands, it's kind of like this, you get a really different quality, and I kind of like that. It's something I almost always do. So even that little bit of work that I've done here, which isn't much, has already changed things a bit. So I'm going to take some of the gray, dark gray, and add some Indian yellow. Could also bring in some mixed media into this. It's going to bring a bit of this warmth up here. And I'm moving it backwards into the dark. And can lift with paper towel. Just straight cold wax medium here to kind of thin things out. It's able to reveal some of that curvilinear thing going on in the lower right-hand corner. I can take a tool, like this is you can see that it's a silicone tool, but it's got a chiseled tip. And I can come in here with this grayed down yellow, decide which part. This might be something where I would create a mask. Piece of paper like this. Just lay down this. And lift this up. But, there's an edge. Not the greatest edge, but this is what happens if you do it by hand. Get a different effect. It's not going to be as clear. And anytime you make a change in one area, it inevitably requires you to do something here. Just add a little bit of saturation to it. Just try to do this here. So I'm actually not laying that in the paint, but I needed to have some sort of a line. Now take one of my palette knives and just do a little bit of this. The base in the gray. All right, so now when I put my mask over that, or my mat, I should say, I'm just looking at the upper right-hand quadrant. Yeah, like I think that's going to be okay. It's different, you know. But what can I say? Every time I do something, it's going to be different. And I just come back in and refine that some more later, but it's definitely better. So I'm going for better. Always, that's all you're really trying to do at this point.